Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel. Welcome to bonus weather video number 1 for this week, and we're going to be talking about something that I don't think I've ever shown since I started this a little over a year and a half ago, and that's something called a wind rose, which basically can give you an historical account of what is the prevailing wind direction at a given location and wind speed at a given location over a specified period of time. What I decided to do here today with you is take a look at the period 1991 to 2020, which is what the latest set of normals or 30-year average is based on, just to see what we can see. So this is a very cool website. I'm going to put myself in the corner here. And if you want to take a look at this, it's M as in Mary, R as in Ricardo, cc.purdue.edu. Now, there's actually a group at the State Climate Office at North Carolina State University that came up with a tool to look at North Carolina stations specifically. And the reason I picked this one is that I can do stations outside of North Carolina as well. So you can see up here, there's all sorts of stuff you can look at on the left. But what I've done here is I've gone to the wind rose section. So I say for the date, it's custom. I want the period of time that it's looking at to be January 1st of 1991 to December 31st of 2020. And then within that range, I just want to look at January 1 to January 31, okay? And the units are miles per hour, table output, that doesn't really apply here. And then there's a Beaufort wind scale, and that's how they're going to break down the wind speeds. And we have 36 different wind directions, so all the way from 0, 10, 20, 30, all the way up to 350 degrees, okay? So it takes a little bit of time, but if I say get wind rose, it'll come up here in a second, I hope. There we go. And again, this is going to give us a graphical output as to what happens at the RDU airport, okay? So here it is. And over here, you see a legend, and this represents the wind speed. So the first one is 1.3 to 4, and notice that it highlights that area over here. Then you have 4 to 8, 8 to 13, 13 to 19, all the way up to 47 plus, and there's none of those on here. But the length of these lines here, or these bands, if you will, not bands, what is the word for that? My gosh. Like a radial, I guess, is the best way to put it. The length of that indicates the percentage of time that it's actually occurring. Like each one of these circles here, that's 2%, 4%, and I believe that's 6%. So the wind during this period of time in January from 1991 to 2020 came out of the southwest more times than any other direction on here. And you can see there were other times when just about all those directions were observed, but the prevailing ones were in here, southwest. Now, just for fun, let me go back here, and I'm going to go to the month of May. And I honestly have not looked at this, so I don't know what this is going to show. That's what makes this fun. So we're going to go from May 1st to May 31st. Everything else is the same. And so let's say hit wind rose and see what it comes up with. And I'll tell you why I picked May in just a second. Okay, here we come. So this is at RDU. And again, southwest wins the race, but there are, a fair amount of days with other wind directions in here. The ones to the northwest appear to be the least significant, least number of occurrences, okay? Now, let us go back here, and we're going to pick a new station. And I'm going to pick the North Myrtle Beach Airport. And, oh, wait a minute. What do you mean there are no stations reporting that? That's not true. Okay, maybe I typed it in wrong. So KCRE, which is the identifier. Next. There we go. All right, so now all I have to do is hit go, and I've still got all the same parameters here, May 1 to May 31, and I'll tell you what my hypothesis is, that there's going to be more winds with an easterly component because of the sea breeze kicking in during the afternoon. The water's still relatively cool and the land is heating up. And so let's see if that actually turns out to be the case. So I'm going to hit get windrows here, and we'll wait for it to process. Okay, and you know what? It's really not that much more. The only thing I will say here is, do you notice how the winds, the prevailing wind at RDU was southwest? These are a little bit more toward the south-southwest. And the way the coastline is oriented around Myrtle Beach is that it's actually a southwest to northeast oriented coast, or beach, if you will. And so you can have a south wind and it's actually a sea breeze because it's blowing from water toward the land. So the fact that this is skewed a little bit more toward the south than Raleigh-Durham was is more or less, or probably being indicative of that idea that I just showed you. But even a southeast wind, you know, would be perpendicular to the beach at Myrtle Beach, and that would be your classic sea breeze blowing perpendicular to the coastline. So you can do this for any period of time as long as it is within the period of time that the station has records that they've been keeping observations. And so you can pick any interval of time during that period, any specific period of days, like you can look at a month, you can look at a week, you know, anything you want to look at. It's a very, very cool site. And, you know, check it out. If you're a weather enthusiast, go ahead and play with this and see what you come up with. But again, it's mrcc.purdue.edu. Jim Payne, former news anchor at WRAL, would be proud because he went to Purdue, and so I'll have to pass this along to him. You know, kudos to your university for making this available. All right, folks, that's it for now. That's bonus weather video number 1 for this week. Number 2 will be on Wednesday, and I hope you have a wonderful Monday evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow for the next daily weather update. Take care, everybody.